A very good evening to you. This is the Chat Trap on Relax Radio. How is everybody doing? It is Thursday, and I don't know about you, but I am so excited that it's going to be Friday tomorrow. I cannot wait to, get this, just give myself some time to breathe, and I cannot wait for the weekend. And if you yourself have had a weekend that's not so great, or a week that's not so great, rather, I just want you to remember that you need some time for yourself. You just need to chill a little and take this weekend to do that, okay? Take this weekend to give yourself some time, just catch a breath, relax. You definitely deserve a break. So, yeah, take this weekend and chill a little, catch a breath, and make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio because we are going to make sure that we are entertaining you with the best of information and the best of conversation 24/7, 365. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. And if you're new to this entire platform, I want to remind you that, Relax Radio, basically, even though we call ourselves a radio, we are far from an ordinary radio station or frequency, okay? And that is because the reason that we were created, the reason that this platform was created, so that you get an opportunity to speak up, okay? I know a lot of you have a plethora of different perspectives, and everybody has a different way of thinking. Everybody has a different opinion, perspective. And I feel like when we share these opinions with each other, when we share these ideas with each other, it just makes us more tolerant people. And listen, we have so many people listening in from different platforms on social media, on our website, on our app, and we are giving you the opportunity to kind of connect with all of them. We're giving you the opportunity to actually use your voice to speak up and voice out your opinions. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. I am Jamie. Like I said, this is the Chat Wrap, and I am going to be here with you for about 2.5 hours more, actually more than that. And we are going to be talking to you about some amazing things. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Make sure that you download our app. It's available absolutely free of charge on iOS and Android. And if you download our app, you can take us with you wherever that you go. Say you're driving to work and you just need some good conversation, or if you are, doing your household chores and you just want somebody to talk to, that is what we are here for. We are here to give you good conversation. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on a Relax Radio. Now, with that being said, the first topic that I decided to talk to you about is with regards to girl bands in the UK, and the highest, the most successful rather girl bands in the UK. And this particular subject for me is very, I would say, personal, just because. I absolutely love girl bands, okay? I feel like in the UK in itself, we've had such amazing music thanks to all of the girl bands that have been formed since the ages. And I'm so thankful to all of these different kinds of girl bands for like kind of, putting out good music and giving us something to entertain ourselves with, giving us something to, dance to cry to be happy to. And there's just so many different amazing songs that have been released by girl bands. And I know that a lot of you absolutely have your own favorites when it comes to bands, especially girl bands. So what we are going to do within the next couple minutes is talk to you about the highest ranking and the biggest hits by girl bands in the UK. And I want you to do me a favor, okay? I want you to let me know if you agree, okay? Did your favorite girl band make the list? Let me know. You could do so by leaving a comment down below if you're listening to us on any of our social media platforms, or you could very simply head on over to our social media and leave a comment there, or you could always call me up on 07852 473 473. Now, with that being said, I feel like this chart that has been revealed, it was revealed a few hours ago actually, and the chart that reveals the UK's biggest girl band hits includes songs by Destiny's Child, which I believe rightly so. We have Spice Girls making the list, we have TLC, TLC, we have Little Mix, we have All Saints as well. Now, these are all amazing bands, and I just want to know, I just want to share with you which band actually made the top of the list, which band actually, got onto the top of the list. And well, if you guessed it, if you guessed Spice Girls, well, then you are absolutely right, because the Spice Girls Wannabe, which is one of their most famous songs, has been named the UK's best selling single by a girl group 23 years after it was released. Now, I think this is a huge achievement by the girl band themselves. I feel like Spice Girls, what do I say about the Spice Girls? I just think they are so iconic. Okay, if you want a definition for the word iconic, it goes to the Spice Girls, because they left such a huge cultural impact. They left such a huge impact on the entertainment industry and so much more. And yeah, it's rightly so that Spice Girls Wannabe has been named the UK's best selling single by a girl group 23 years after it was released. Now, if you're wondering, the Spice Girls Wannabe, the track has actually sold 1.7 million copies since 1996, according to the official charts company, as it was unveiled that the top 100 girl group singles of the last 25 years. So, the second band actually that comes in a close second is actually, well, can you take a guess? I want you to let me know. We have a few people saying that it's going to be Little Mix. And for those of you that thought it was Little Mix that is going to come in second with the biggest best-selling single, well, then you are right, because Little Mix actually comes in to a close second with a sale of about 1.52 million for their 2017 single. I think it's called Shout Out to My Ex. And I feel like that song by Little Mix, Shout Out to My Ex, I don't know if you've heard of it, but if you are, if you are somebody that listens to mainstream music, you have most definitely heard Shout Out to My Ex by Little Mix. And that song was iconic, not just because it was sung by one of the most amazing girl groups out there, but it was such a bop. Okay, and it was like it was like 2017's heartbreak song, if that makes any sense, because I think, according to what I remember, Perry Edwards, who is a part of Little Mix, actually wrote that song and directed it towards Zayn Malik, who she had like a thing going on then, and they broke up. And this song, Shout Out to My Ex by Little Mix, was actually directed at Perry Edwards' then boyfriend or fiance. I'm not exactly sure about that, but yeah, the song was directed at Zayn Malik. And I feel like that song, Shout Out to My Ex, if you haven't heard it, I want you to do me a favor. Right after this talk segment finishes, I want you to go listen to it, okay? That song is so iconic because it became a breakup anthem, right? It became the song that you sing to empower yourself if you've gone through a breakup. And with that being said, I don't know about you, but I genuinely think that music plays such a big part, especially when you're trying to deal with your emotions, especially if you're going through like a breakup, if you're going through a not so great situation. Oh my goodness. Songs can help so much. And what I love about music is that you just have a song for all occasions. You have a song for when you're happy. You have a song that you cry for. And for every single person, it differs. But guess what? A majority of the UK have actually said that Spice Girls Wannabe is UK's the best-selling single by a girl group 23 years after it was released. And coming in second is the song I was talking to you about all this while, and that is Little Mix's Shout Out to My Ex, which was released back in 2017, if I remember correctly. Now, if you don't know anything about Little Mix, well, firstly, you're living under a rock, but but it's okay. Let me get you updated on Little Mix. The reason I love Little Mix is because they are a girl group that I followed from the start, right? So if you don't know how they started, Little Mix is one of the most popular girl groups in the entire world. And how their journey started was because they won X Factor, right? The X Factor winners have about 16 more songs in the top 100 songs, and Girls Aloud and TLC also score multiple entries. Now, the oldest track on the countdown actually comes from a group called the Ronettes. And now, I'm not going to lie to you, that is not a band that I have listened to so far. But in the 1960s, 1963, if I'm not actually, it was 1963. In 1963, their single "Be My Baby" actually blew up, and they also come in. They also get into the list of UK's biggest girl band hits. So I want to know what kind of style of music do you like to listen to? Do you agree with this chart? Do you agree that Spice Girls Wannabe is at the top of the list? Do you agree that Little Mix came in second with a shout out to my ex? All Saints is another amazing girl band. The single Never Ever came in third. Work From Home, Fifth Harmony. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe I forgot Fifth Harmony. Fifth Harmony for me is yet another amazing girl group. They are just amazing. And Work From Home comes in fourth. Comes in. I forgot the numbers for a second. But Work From Home by Fifth Harmony comes in fourth on the best-selling girl group songs. And in fifth, we have Black Magic by Little Mix, of course. No Scrubs by TLC. I love that song. That is yet another. I feel like all of these songs are very, breakup-oriented songs. So if you're going through a breakup right now, if you're just going through a hard time, if you just want to vibe and bop to some good music, then these are definitely songs that you should give a listen to, because these girls are conquering the world with their music, and as so many of us have been loving the music that has been released so far. Now, that was a little update with regards to the most popular girl band hits in the UK. Let me know if you agree with this. Do you think that these should have made the list, or do you think there are other bands that should have made the list? Go ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below or by calling me on 07852 473 473. Now, with that being said, we're going to head on over to a little break, but when I come back, a lot more amazing conversation awaits. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be? So that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account, and then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time, and we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies. everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country. To be fair, different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. How is everybody doing? It is a beautiful Thursday, and I know the weather in some parts of the UK and all around the world hasn't been so great so far. But listen, no matter what the weather is like, no matter what you're going through, one thing that I can promise you is that we here at Relaks Radio, we're going to be there for you, okay? We're going to make sure that you are as ecstatic, as hyped up as much as possible. And that basically is our goal here, okay? Our goal is to make sure that you are hyped up, that you are informed and inspired. So, if you want that extra dose of happiness, if you want that extra dose of inspiration, all you got to do is make sure that you keep it tuned right here on a Relaks Radio. Now, with that being said, we were talking about something very interesting earlier on, and I asked for your opinions. I asked for your personal thoughts and ideas, and that was because we were talking about the best girl groups, right? We were talking about the most loved, the beloved girl groups and the songs that have been released by the most famous girl groups so far. And I gave you a little update, and if you did miss it, well, then we were talking about the best-selling girl group songs, and without a surprise, of course, the Spice Girls come in number one with their hit song Wannabe, which was released, oh my goodness, I do not remember when it was released. I think it was about 23 years ago, but yeah, even though it was released 23 years ago, 23 years ago rather, today the Spice Girls Wannabe has actually been named the UK's best-selling single by a girl group. I want to know if you agree with these charts. Do you agree with this, with the list of this? So yeah, please feel free to go ahead and let me know by leaving a comment down below. If you're listening to us on any of our social media platforms, you can comment somewhere. I'm not sure where, but if you're listening to like Facebook, you can leave a comment down below. But if you're listening to us on any other social media platforms, there is a way that if you leave a comment, I can directly engage with you, which is always super fantastic. So yeah, make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio. Furthermore, we were actually going back to the list of the best-selling girl group songs. I told you about number one was, of course, Spice Girls, Wannabe Spice Girls. Number two, we have Little Mix coming up with Shout Out to My Ex and Never Ever by All Saints in number three. Work From Home, Fifth Harmony was number four. And oh my goodness, Black Magic. I feel like as I'm giving you this list, I'm feeling really nostalgic for some reason. It makes me just want to shut this off and go have a listen to all of these songs, because I haven't heard these songs in quite some time. But when these songs came out, they were such a bop. Everybody loved it. Everybody loved to dance to it because it was music at its finest. Black Magic was a number 5 by Little Mix. We had No Scrubs, which is actually one of my favorites, and it was by, of course, by the artist TLC. We have Little Mix again on the chart, making number 7 with their song Touch. 2 Become 1, Spice Girls yet again. Atomic Kitten with Whole Again at C'est La Vie by Bewitched. So those are the top 10 hit songs by girl bands in the UK, and I'm sure that these are the kind of bands that are popular around the world as well. But I do, like I keep saying, I want to know if you agree. Do you have a band that you think should have made the list? In my opinion, what would it be? I mean, I love Little Mix, I love the Spice Girls, and both of them are on the charts already. Who else? I'm trying to think of other girl bands. I can't think of any other girl bands as of now. But if you think that there are other iconic girl bands that should have made this list, go ahead and let me know by calling me on 078 or by leaving a comment down below. Now, with that being said, I also want to talk to you about this whole chart. The chart was actually unveiled ahead of the closing dates of the Spice Girls reunion tour that is at Wembley this weekend, and the 13-date stadium tour obviously did get off a shaky start because there were reports of sound issues at the opening night in Dublin. But all of those issues seem to appear to be ironed out on subsequent dates, which is good for them. It's good for them that they're figuring things out. Also, that a lot of this tour by Spice, the Spice Girls reunion tour at Wembley, that had a lot of ups and downs. Like I told you, there was a shaky start. There were heavy rains, but of course, singer Emma Bunton took the bad weather in her stride. And yeah, it's amazing. They said in Bristol, especially when the concerts were happening, it was really, really wet and hard to do it. But of course, that didn't stop the amazing girl group. They gave out one of the best shows of our time, I believe. Now, apart from that, the official charts company also revealed the UK's best-selling girl group albums, and of course, unsurprisingly, like I told you before, the Spice Girls debut topped that chart too. Okay, Spice, which featured the singles like "Wannabe." I think apart from "Wannabe," we had "Who Do You Think You Are" and "Say You'll Be There," and it also spent 15 weeks in 1996 and 1997, and has notched up about 2.98 million combined sales, which is such a big number. That just goes to show how much the world loves the Spice Girls, how they are so iconic. And yeah, second place, like I told you, went to the sequel, Spice World, which has 1.6 sales, followed by All Saints' self-titled debut album from 1997 with 1.47 million sales, I believe. And yeah, the best-selling girl band compilation was The Sound of Girls Aloud, which has sales of 1.2 million. Now, I know these are a lot of numbers, but with regards to the albums as well, Spice Girls, All Saints, Pussycat Dolls, I forgot about Pussycat Dolls. Oh my goodness, guess what? Pussycat Dolls also makes the list of the best-selling girl group albums, because earlier on we were talking about best-selling girl group hits, right? Now, of course, best-selling girl group albums, we have Spice Girls, we have All Saints, Pussycat Dolls, Destiny's Child, Destiny's Child, of course, Little Mix, Sugar Babes, and of course, Little Mix yet again. Now, again, I want to know if you agree with these. Do you agree with this? Go ahead and let me know by either calling me on 07852473473 or by leaving a comment down below. When we come back, we have a lot more related to music that I want to keep you updated and that I want to talk to you about. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good thing.
But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
Comparison to now,
not at all, not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no, if that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you, how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset, and when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, he might say to me, you had one to forget. That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, damn, that's the real fact of the matter, yeah.
He'd say to me, you had one to forget. Get over it. And that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, you've had one to forget, God, there'd be an inquest. Why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much. A lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good thing.
Welcome back to the show. How is everybody doing? It is a beautiful day. It's kind of gloomy out there. But what I want to let you know is don't ever let that decide if your day is going good or not. There's a lot that's happening in the world right now. And what I want you to remember is to just be thankful, okay? Just be thankful that you're able to, live today. Be thankful for the fact that you were given another day, because that is so much more than what other people have. So yeah, just this is your reminder to make sure that you are as happy and as satisfied with love as much as possible. Now, this is of course a chat wrap. If you're just tuning in, we have so many exciting things to talk to you about today, and I want to make sure that you are a part of the show, okay? And that's how you do that exactly is by calling us on 07852 473 473 or by leaving us a message on our social media platforms, that is Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. We are going to make sure that you are as informed, that you are as entertained as much as possible. So yeah, just make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio. We do have a lot to talk to you about. Listen, I feel like I feel like living in the world that we are today, with everything that's going on, with, we have our jobs to handle. If you have a family, you have a family to handle. It's just so hard to kind of keep on top of everything that's happening. It's so hard to be updated with everything that's happening. And that is why we want to make sure that you are informed. It's super easy. If you download our app, all you got to do is keep us in the background while you're doing your work, while you are, attending your daily chores or whatever it is. Just make sure that you keep us in the background, so that we can keep you informed and inspired 24/7, 365. Now, like I said, Relax Radio is all about positivity. Relax Radio is all about making sure that you are as hyped up as much as possible. It's about making sure that you are, you have that positive energy that you need to succeed, that you need to, live your best life. We are out here trying our level best to make you satisfied, to make you inspired and informed. So all you gotta do is be a part of this journey with us at Relax Radio. We have a fun bunch that are a part of this platform. We are all from diverse backgrounds, from different families, and we're just sharing with you our thoughts and our opinions with regards to whatever it is that is trending. So make sure that you follow us on this journey. That would mean the world to us. Go ahead and check us out, like I told you, on social media. Make sure that you subscribe to our YouTube channel, that you like our Facebook page, and that you follow us on our Instagram, because we are putting out some pretty dope content. Okay, now with that being said, moving on into the conversation for the next few minutes with regards to the whole COVID situation, I want to let you know that apparently, the Tokyo Olympics is something that everybody's been talking about lately. But apparently, with regards to the Tokyo Olympics, the fans have largely been barred as there was an COVID emergency declared yet again. So the Olympic Games in Japan will be held without spectators at venues in and around the capital after a spike in coronavirus infections. So this state of emergency, basically, that was put in place for the betterment of the people and for the safety of all the international and national sportsmen and women that will be in Tokyo, for the safety of everybody. There has been a state of emergency that has been put in place in Tokyo up until the 22nd of August. Oh my goodness, that can be happy, because I know a lot of people were super excited to be able to go back to life as it was. And I feel like the Olympics just played a huge part in that. And yeah, it's just super sad to know that there will be no spectators, rather. Now, the Prime Minister of Japan told reporters that it would run from 12th of July and it will remain in place until the 22nd of August. And apparently all bars and restaurants will not be allowed to serve alcohol, and it must close by I think it was 8 o'clock. Yeah, oof, that's crazy. That's just really sad, It's just everything's going back to what it was, and that's just a little sad. But yeah, Japan's battle to contain COVID just before the Olympics continues, and venues in Tokyo and other areas near the capital city will not be allowed to hold events with fans during the games. Now, the stadiums in the regions of Fukushima, Miyagi, and Shizuoka will be permitted to have spectators, but that is also only up to like a 50% capacity, and the maximum amount of people will be 10,000 people. Now, coronavirus infections are rising in Tokyo as the 23rd of July opening ceremony edges closer and closer. So I'm so worried. I was actually super excited about the Olympics that is supposed to be happening in Tokyo. I know a lot of people it's basically their lifeline. These sportsmen and women weren't able to do what they've practiced for all their life last year because it was postponed. But yeah, it's amazing that they get the chance this year. I just hope everything goes good. It kind of sucks that this event, Olympics in general, was something that everybody was looking forward to, especially not just the Japanese people, because it's happening in Tokyo, but around the world, people were just so excited to see sports taking place. And these sportsmen and women have been working so hard, facing so many obstacles, overcoming so many obstacles, rather, to be able to perform at the Tokyo Olympics, which was supposed to happen on the 23rd of July. But yeah, it's super scary because there has been a state of emergency that has been declared in Tokyo up until the 22nd of January, which I feel like is going to affect the entire process of the Olympics that is supposed to happen in Japan. Coronavirus, I feel like I keep saying have hope, have hope, have hope. And yes, you gotta have hope, because without hope, we don't have anything. You need to hope that things are going to get better. You need to hope that everything's going to calm down just a little bit. But when I see all of this news, when I see that the UK in itself surpassed 30,000 cases yesterday, it's just really scary. And I completely understand you're not alone in that regard. I'm sure this is what's running through majority of people's minds. But I just want to remind you to hang in there for a little longer. It sucks that this is coming back, but it's just something, us complaining about this entire situation isn't going to change anything. So instead, what we can do is to adapt and move forward. So I feel like Japan is doing whatever it can to make sure that they contain this entire COVID-19 situation, so that the Olympics, the 2020 Tokyo Olympics will go by smoothly. I really do hope everything goes smoothly. And if you're wondering as to what's happening with COVID in Japan, well, a new wave of infections began in April, but overall the country has had relatively low case numbers and a death toll of around 14,900, which is why people were very optimistic, which is why people were looking forward to it. But I know that there are so many different opinions with regards to this. There are so many people in Tokyo that says the Olympics needs to be cancelled. It's too much of a risk, not just for this international contestant sportsmen and sportswomen, but for the population as a whole. It's too much of a risk, and a lot of the population, the Japanese population, have been saying that they are against the Olympics happening. And because of Japan's vaccination rollout has been slow, and despite us wanting to actually despite us wanting the games to happen, there is so much opposition to the games, which have already been postponed a year because of COVID-19. So the people in Japan, whether or not they wanted the Olympics, majority of the people seem to be saying that they are opposed to the games happening in Tokyo because it's just too much of a risk. But yeah, it's a lot of people call it to be cancelled, but as of now, it's still going on. Now, with that being said, we're going to head on over to a little break, but when I come back, a lot more interesting conversation awaits. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relaks Radio.
Now, there's a lot of conversation around who pays more taxes, if it is the rich or if it is the poor, right? But when you are basically going out and during a day, you go to a restaurant, you have to pay taxes there. If you buy a car, you have to pay taxes there. So why is it even a conversation that, the rich pay less taxes or the poor pay more taxes? Why is it a conversation like that?
Because it's true, the rich generally pay less tax. A rich person walks into a Tesco's or a Sainsbury's, they're not going to get a different bill than another person, right? They're still going to pay the same VAT on those goods, they're still going to pay the same thing. So that's all the same. However, the differences come in if you can pay yourself from your own company, you can structure it in a way that you pay less income tax through paying a bit of salary, paying dividends and so forth, and then also deferring income. Also, your pension payments or contributions can be different. So that increases your tax sort of gap, if that, if you want to use it that way. Where a PAYE person just gets paid salary and bonus. And now those are the most highly taxed sources of income in the UK, definitely, in the UK. We've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? Because in a public company where the stock is traded openly on the stock exchange, the value of that stock is driven by supply and demand, it's driven by emotion, it's driven by news, it's driven by quite a lot of variables over and above the actual accounting or total net worth of that company. I mean, we've seen it, right? If an owner of a large public traded company does something wrong, irrelevant of what that company does or how valuable that company is, the stock generally falls into a pool of nothing, right? And the company may still have value, it may still be doing quite a good things.
Climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
They're talking about mental health. Well, if you went out and got some exercise in the fresh air, that would improve your mental health. It will make you feel better.
That's true. That is true. I wholeheartedly agree. But then for some people, it's how do you find the motivation to, especially when it comes to riding a bicycle, to do it again and again and again and again? It's a cycle that you have to be used to. How do you do it? What makes you wake up in the morning and decide, hey, I'm going to pick my bike up today. I'm going to cycle. What makes you want to do that?
What makes me want to do that?
Yeah. What do you like? What could you give listeners, like people listening in right now? What kind of tip could you give them?
Well, the first tip I would give them, if you haven't tried it before, try it. It can open up new horizons. It'll make you fitter. It will definitely make you fitter. Cycling is one of the best forms of aerobic exercise you can do.
It sounds like, I mean, if you think about it, yeah, it sounds like great fun. Because what essentially you're trying to say is also at the same time, when you, if you look at it from this perspective, with regards to mental health, especially when you look at it with mental health, this is another way to fight it. I feel like you go outside, you meet more people, you interact with, socially, you will interact with more people, and you're keeping fit, you're making connections, you're breathing in the good and exhaling the bad. I feel like that's a great thing right there.
Absolutely. Yeah, you got a better way with words than I have, I'll tell you. But you're quite right. What you say there.
I mean, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, hey, you'll get the hang of it.
I've been doing it for about 10 minutes now, so yeah.
That I can never really understand people staying in one room the whole day when you can have the world to see. I am a traveler. I travel. I love traveling. Traveling is just one of the things I do. And yeah, on top of my bucket list was, to one time, hopefully when I get there, go to Nepal and climb Mount Everest. That is one of that's in my bucket list. You're laughing, but that is the facts right there. I'd love to do that. That is something I'm looking forward to do, hopefully.
Climb Everest.
Mount Everest. I mean, okay, not the very tip of Mount Everest, maybe the base camp at least.
Base camp, yeah.
At least.
Would you be able to cycle there?
Oh.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday. And what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I need the money? And how much money do I need? Yeah. So that's quite important, because when you're looking at your net worth, you got to start with saying, well, what do I want my net worth to be, so that there's a goal, and then work backwards. How do I get there? And if I can start with £50 or $50 a week, if I save that every week, and you can go online and use calculators online. I don't have to teach you the maths behind it, but you can say, okay, and if I get a 3% return and I put this away for how long will it take to reach my goal? And that's called just this basic cash flow projection calculations. And it's what we use in financial planning all the time. What we say to clients is we say, okay, what is your goal? What is your objective? Where do you want to go to? And we discuss that in a lot of detail and over most of the meeting. And then the rest of it is saying, okay, in your exact circumstances, with your risk profile, with how you feel about investments and pensions and taxes and where you are and who you work with, and your education level or your lack of education or how involved you want to be. There's a lot of variables that we take into account. And then we say, okay, here's a plan. You start like this, that's great. And then we review it all the time. And we say, okay, we need to increase it, we're on track, we're not, this is what is happening. Because remember, when you're dealing with assets, the valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you. And that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. So that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Right? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country, to be fair. Different countries have different tax laws, so with different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. How is everybody doing? How is your day going so far? We hope that you are having an amazing evening so far. A very good evening out to you. And listen, it's Thursday, okay? And I feel like it's going to be Friday soon, and it's going to be the weekend, and I want you to hang in on up until that. I promise you, no matter how hard your weekend was, just the weekend or your week was, the weekend is most definitely going to be a lot better. So just hold on for a little longer. Just make sure that you spread positivity no matter where you are, no matter what you are doing. Just make sure that you try to be a better person, because like I always say, being a better person doesn't only help somebody else, it also helps you, right? Being kind essentially is a two-way thing, because when you're kind to somebody else, you're also being kind to yourself, because there is this sense of gratification that kindness, doing kind things and doing good things gives you, that is absolutely incomparable. So yeah, just make sure that you do whatever you can to be a good of a person, to be a better version of yourself today than you were yesterday. And that, I feel like, is the ultimate goal. And that I feel like a lot of people kind of believe that success has a lot to do with money, has a lot to do with how many cars you have or how great of a house you have, whereas in reality that's not true, right? It is absolutely not true, because success to me is if you are happy with what you are doing, if you are satisfied with your actions, that essentially is success. If you can kind of understand yourself, you can understand what you're going through, that in itself is success. That's personal success, and that's the most important kind. So yeah, just remember to be good to not just others but yourself as well. Put yourself first. That's not something selfish, because like I always say, how can you love somebody else if you can't love yourself, right? So just be as good to others as possible, be good to yourself, and just make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Now we are with you 24/7, 365, making sure that you are as hyped up, that you are as excited as much as possible. Our duty is to make sure that you are constantly informed and inspired as well. So that's what we're going to be trying to do for you 24/7, 365, which is why you need to make sure that you keep it tuned right here on Relax Radio. Either call me, be a part of this journey, and you can do that by calling me on 07852 473 473, or by leaving a comment down below. Now, with that being said, I want to talk about the Spice Girls yet again, because I feel like a lot of you are super excited about the Spice Girls as a whole, and the reason why they came into topic as, the reason that they came into topic in the first place is because the Spice Girls actually came in number one in the UK with the best album of a girl group, and also the best hit song of a girl group. So they came in number one, which is pretty amazing actually. And it just goes to show that they are legends, that they are iconic. I want to know if you agree. Do you think Spice Girls are one of a kind? Do you think that their music is incomparable? Go ahead, let me know. Or are you somebody that just does not like the whole 90s vibe? What is it? Go ahead, let me know. Call me on 07852 473 473, or just leave a comment down below. Okay, so speaking of the Spice Girls, I feel like they came out of nowhere. Okay, but one thing is for sure, it's that they changed the course of pop music. It was Wannabe, this crappily brilliant debut single by the Spice Girls that shot them into fame, with good reason though. Oh my goodness, they are next level. And yeah, Wannabe, Spice Girls Wannabe is definitely something to is it deserves the clout that it's getting. It deserves to be celebrated because it's definitely one of the good songs out there. Now, apparently, the record label has been worried so far because, when Wannabe was actually made, the record label, this is going to come as surprising, but the record label was actually quite worried. Okay, so when the band actually came together and created the song Wannabe, when the record label actually heard it for the first time, they were super skeptical, saying that it's weird, it's too anarchic, it's not going to be a hit song. And apparently the record label hated the video, right? And a lot of, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but did you know that BBC Radio 1 actually refused to play it? And breakfast show DJ Chris Evans told the band to go back to kids' TV. What? Did you know that? That's insane. They Wannabe actually was a very, very how would I say, different, but that just goes to show that difference is what shines. If you want to be accepted, if you want to give the people something to entertain people, then it needs to be different, and that I feel like is the story of their song Wannabe. Okay, so despite all of the opposition for the song and the music video, the girls apparently knew better. Okay, they said that it's not negotiable. They want Wannabe to be their first single, and if they decided they wanted to do something else, that's what was going to happen. History definitely proved them right, because it was released 25 years ago on 8th of July 1996, and Wannabe spent 7 weeks at number one in the UK and 4 in the US. Just imagine if they listened to all of the haters, if they listened to all of these people saying Wannabe is dumb, that it belongs to kids TV. If they listened to them, they wouldn't have this amazing song that is still topping charts today. So it made this song essentially made 5 unknown girls. That's Victoria Adams, Victoria Beckham as we now know her, Melanie Brown, Emma Lee Bunton, Melanie Jane Chrisham, Geraldine Estelle. This song was able to make these 5 girls global superstars, which is mind blowing. So that basically is the story of how the band started, how they rose to fame, how they fell apart. Basically, they did fall apart like all good things do, but they pulled themselves back together. And yeah, that's just the story of the Spice Girls. You know, they had a lot of criticism when they did begin, but they pulled through. They believed in themselves, and that essentially is what made them succeed. And I think there's a lot we can learn from that. Essentially is a life lesson in itself. Just if you think something's good enough, go ahead with it. Forget about the criticism, because criticism is always going to be there unless you do something that is the same old thing. If it's something new, people are going to be skeptic. The people are going to be criticize what you have to offer, but do not let that stop you. We learned that lesson from the Spice Girls. Do not ever let that stop you. Just carry on with what you love. Carry on doing what you love to do, and I guess that's all that matters. Now, with that being said, we're going to head on over to a little break, but when I come back, a lot more amazing information awaits you. So make sure that you keep it tuned right here on a Relax Radio.